What's up guys, in this video I'm going to show you exactly how you can start running ads for your agency or high ticket coaching business so that you have a machine that predictably and consistently puts qualified calls onto your calendar every single day. Now this is our ad account right here. You can see we're spending about $400-ish a day, $300 to $400 a day. This is way off. We're getting about just under sub $100 calls right now. And so, you know, we're booking in just about 100 calls a month, just around there, 100 to 110 calls a month. And we're doing it for about $100 cost per book call roughly. Now, this is also the exact same process that we implement for all of our clients as well. So this stuff works. And in this video, as I say, I want to give you basically everything that you need to start doing this yourself. So as I say, here's our ad account. Let me just refresh so you know it's legit. So as I say, the tracking's a little bit off. We're booking in about $100 cost per book call right now. And as I say, we're about spending, I don't know, I think it's $400 a day. $300 to $400 a day. Yeah, so about $360 a day then in that case. Cool, $365 a day on the dot. And so let me dive into exactly what we do. Okay, so first things first, let me show you exactly what the funnel looks like. So this is the funnel. We send all traffic to this opt-in page right here. They go get started, they opt in, they give us, we request name, number, email. And then from once they opt in, they go to this page right here, which is our offer lead VSL. Now this offer lead VSL is a huge part as to why we get the results that we get. This is right now converting about 31%. So about every 100 people who opt in to this, to the funnel, about 30 of them booking a call on average right now. Of course, from here, they just go schedule a call and they book directly in a call. Now, as I say, this is a huge reason why this ad funnel is so profitable. Now, if you want more info on how to actually create this offer lead VSL itself, then I've got another video on the channel. I think it was the last video before this one was published. The previous one, I go through and I basically break down this offer lead VSL in its entirety. And I very much recommend you watch that video because most people think that they can just create a VSL and it will either work or it doesn't. And if it doesn't work, it's not that the VSL they created didn't work. In their mind, a lot of people think that VSLs don't work. And that's just not the case, right? VSLs work, but it's how well does it work for you specifically. So if you create a VSL and it doesn't work, please don't write off VSLs because they work. Like this is where we get 95% of our clients from is this VSL funnel to cold traffic. It kills it, right? You look at every 8-figure company in the space, they've all got a VSL funnel. VSLs kill it. But the issue is that they're very hard to get working at a very high level. Like, as I say, ours right now is converting about 30-ish percent, 31% out of everyone who opts in converts into a highly qualified book call. It's pretty hard to get to that point, right? But so if you create one and it doesn't work the first time round, recreate, because it's not that, if you create one and it doesn't work, as I say, it's not that VSLs don't work, or a more common thing that a lot of people say is, or VSLs don't work for my industry, or VSLs don't work for my offer, or my ideal client wouldn't watch a short 5-minute video. Humans watch videos, period. Okay, so like they will watch a VSL if it's done correctly. That's the thing, if it's done correctly. Most people just can't get it to work correctly. So go back, rewatch my last video if you want more info on how to actually create this offer lead VSL specifically. Now, diving into the ad funnel itself, it's pretty simple. It really breaks down into 3 main parts, okay? Not the bidget, it breaks down into the budget, okay? The budget, the structure, or the media buying structure, and then the messaging. Now the messaging is where the targeting is done. I'm gonna show you my the ad sets, exactly who we're targeting, everything, but the messaging is where most of the results come from, okay? So let me go here. Okay, so now let's start though, first things first with the budget, because the budget, everything's pretty much reverse engineered from the budget, okay? So the budget really comes down to this formula right here, which is TCPE times 50, okay, divide by 7. Now, what does this mean? Well, basically, it means target cost per event times by 50 divided by 7. So the 50 essentially refers to the number of events you need to fire in the first 7 days of the campaign, if it's a CBO, or an ad set, if it's an ABO, being live. So in the first 7 days of you launching a new ad set or a new campaign, you need 50 conversions in that first 7 days of that being live in order for the campaign or the ad set to optimize properly. This is the biggest issue most people have with budgets. They give their CBO, if they do CBOs, or their ad set, they do ad sets, or if they do ABO, I should say, they give the ad set like a $20 budget, right? And they're optimizing for calls, for example. They're optimizing for calls, and so they're getting like a $100 cost per book call, which is great. But then if they've only got a $20 a day budget, that means they're getting one pixel fire every 5 days. That's never gonna work. You need 50 conversions in the first 7 days of an ad to go live. This is also how you exit the learning limited phase in that, if you sometimes you'll see, for example, the delivery of your ad sets or your campaigns, if you do CPO, here it will say learning limited. You do not want any of your ad sets or any of your campaigns to say learning limited. Why? Because it limits the learning, which means Facebook can't optimize to the level that it should. Okay? And what ultimately that means is that it's going to decrease your results dramatically. So the way that we get out of learning limited is by forcing that ad set to get 50 conversions in the first 7 days. Now, what's the conversion? Well, that's whatever the event is that you optimize for. So you'll see right now in our ads, if I open this one right here, this is just like a test that we was running. Well, this one's still in learning, and I think this one won't actually exit the learning limited because it was a test that we were doing, so it was like a smaller budget. This one was only, I think, 100 a day. From a budget standpoint, let me have a look here. Yeah, it's only 100 a day, so I don't think this one will exit the learning limited, but we was just testing, right? This is not our scaling campaign. This one, however, is all active, which means it's exited the learning limited phase within the first 7 days since we launched it, right? And so my point in saying that is you'll see here that we're optimizing for leads. Okay, so this is leads, right? Same with this ad set right here. We're optimizing for leads. Okay. And what a lead is essentially when somebody clicks the ad, they go to this page right here, as I say, and then when they opt in, they get redirected to this page. And when they land on this page, the lead event fires. And so when we look at the budget formula right here, the target cost per event, in my case, it's leads. I need to make sure that each campaign, because I'm doing CBO, gets at least 50 leads in the first 7 days of it being live, okay? Because then that's, as I say, how we exit the learning limited phase. So how we figure this out specifically for your budget, where we go target cost per event. So whatever the event is that you want to optimize for, I would recommend leads, and I'll show you why here in a minute. Let's say, for example, you want to try and get around a $30 cost per lead. What I did is I went 35, I hedged. So I think I can get $30 leads, but I hedged a little bit and I went $35. And then I times it by 50. As the formula states, and then I divided by 7. Now, the reason we divide by 7 is because we want to get 50 conversions in the first week, okay? So we divide by 7 to get the daily budget, okay? So this equals $250. And I know that because that's what I ran initially, and I launched my initial ad sets at $250 a day, okay? That's a daily budget. But you can see actually this campaign right here is $300 a day, okay? So I just hedged it a little bit more. And you can spend way more than this, but the minimum should be, in this case, $250 if you're optimizing for your target cost per event is leads and you want to try and get $35 leads. This way, you force the ad set to get the 50 conversions it needs in the first 7 days. Hopefully that makes sense. And this way you get out of learning limited every time. Now, you might be wondering, why do you optimize for leads versus calls? Obviously, this is a call funnel, right? It's a call funnel, right? So you go here, and as I said before, you want to here, and you go ahead and book in a call. And then when somebody books in a call with us, they then get redirected to the thank you page, which is this page right here. And then this is where the pixel event fires. The schedule event fires. Okay, schedule. So the question that you might have is, why don't you optimize for schedules if that's the ultimate event that you want? Well, here's the reason why we don't. Because my target cost per schedule is a lot higher than $35, right? As I said before, we're getting about $100 cost per book call, but you always want to hedge a little bit. So I would probably say $150, for example. Cost per book is the target cost per event. If we're optimizing for schedule, $150. Times by 50, divide by 7. This, the last time I checked, I think from memory, was about $1,071. So that would mean that your budget needs to be $1,071 per day. So if you've got that budget that you just want to launch straight away on one, this is not ad account wide, by the way. This is on one campaign. Or if you do an ABO, which I don't recommend, I recommend you do CBO. But if you do an ABO, that means one ad set is $1,071 a day. Most of you probably don't have that type of budget. If you do, launch at that. That's cool. But if you want to just kind of be a little bit more conservative, at least when you're starting out, I would do your leads. Okay, so that's how you figure out the budget, right? And this is super important because if you're not giving Facebook what it needs, it can't get you the results. So it doesn't matter what media buying structure you've got, doesn't matter what messaging you've got, what funnel you've got, it doesn't matter. If you're not giving Facebook the inputs it needs to do its job correctly, then you're not going to get any results. It's as simple as that. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so that's the budget. Now, in terms of the media buying structure, here's the media buying structure. It is so simple, guys. Okay, it's one CBO, 3 to 4 ad sets, and one dynamic ad. That's it. This is the entire structure. So let me show you in my ad account here. So I'll use this one as an example. This is a side thing I just did on the side just to test. You can actually see if I come back to the clicks, this is actually doing pretty well, right? $5.13 clicks versus $7.71 clicks. So I might change this around here soon. I won't worry too much about the cost per lead in here as of right now. But yeah, you can see the test is actually doing pretty well. But let's show you the structure. So this is one CBO, okay? This is at the 300 a day that we spoke about before, right? Inside of here, there's 3 ad sets. I'll show you the exact ad sets we're targeting, right? Got nothing to hide, to be honest. So this is on all of our, this is 2% on all of the opt-ins that we've gotten in the past. I just uploaded all of those opt-ins from my CRM, which is ActiveCampaign, uploaded it straight into Ads Manager and did a lookalike, 2% lookalike, Big 5, okay? You can see here, Big 5, age range, broad, and then there was no detailed targeting because the detailed targeting in this case is the lookalike itself. This is 5.7 to 6.7 million in audience size, okay? That's one ad set. Another ad set is an influencer stack. This is our best performing audience of all time, by the way, okay? So you would have seen actually in my test, okay, in this test campaign, the ad set that I used was the same influencer stack because this is what performed the most, or the best, I should say, out of all of our audiences. You can see here, 54, or 40, yeah, I mean, look at this, right? This tracking's off, by the way, guys. But yeah, you can see just from Facebook's tracking, it's got the highest cost per click, but it's got the best cost per lead, which is always important to look at. What's getting you, this got the highest cost per click, but in the tracking in Ads Manager, it's got the best cost per call. Okay, so that's super important to track. But basically, this influencer stack again is 7.4 to 8.7 million in audience size, and all I'm doing is super broad. Again, Big 5, 20 to 40 age range. Interests are just some big people in the space. Okay, Brendan Burchard, Dean Graziosi, Frank Kern, Russell Brunson. That's it, big influencers. And then because this worked so well, I did a V2 of that. So I targeted other influencers and I just did some more here and it was the same thing here. And this one was 10.8 to 12.7 in million in audience size. And so what this means is that obviously the targeting, okay, like these calls that we're getting, we probably get about 95% of people who book in a call with us are qualified. And for us, who's qualified is they're an intern or a coach and they're making at least bare minimum 10K a month in their business. We don't work with beginners. We only work with people, as I say, at least at 10K a month minimum, bare minimum. And so probably about 95% of people who book in a call with us through these ads are qualified. And so the question then becomes, how the hell are we? How do we have such a high quality book rate, right? Because we're targeting 13 million people. There's no way that there's 13 million qualified prospects for my offer. There's not. I would probably say there's maybe 20 to like 30,000 qualified prospects for my offer in the world who are agency owners or a coach, but above 10K a month. It might be a little bit more than that. It might be 50K max. Yet we're targeting an audience size of 13 million. So how do we get such qualified book calls? Well, it comes down to the next section here, which is the messaging. So let me show you one of my ads. This is our best performing ad ever as well, actually. So right now, this is a dynamic ad. I think we've got two creatives that we're running. You can watch these creatives if you want to see them. Just go into my ad library. You can look at it. But more importantly, I want to show you this piece of copy right here because this is how we get the quality that we get. It's through the messaging of the funnel. Now, when I say messaging, what I'm specifically referring to is a few different things. Number one, the ad copy. Okay, that's number one. Number two is the actual video creative, what I'm saying in the video, right? And then number three is the funnel. So the funnel breaks down to obviously the landing page. The VSL is like the biggest thing, right? This is the Achilles heel of the entire funnel. If this wasn't performing at the level that it is, our ads wouldn't be working, okay? But going back to the idea of the targeting and the messaging, again, it's the offer, the messaging, and then also what I'm saying and the content of the VSL, right? That's where our quality comes from. That's where our targeting comes from. So for example, in the first 3 lines of this ad, right, you can see this is what's seen before the see more button. Everything that's shown before the see more button in your ad, which is typically the first 3 lines of your ad copy, is by far the most important aspect of your entire ad. And it drives about 80% of the results. When you talk about, the 80-20 rule, right? The first 3 lines is the 20% that drives the 80% of the results every time. You could change just the first 3 lines of your ad and it will instantly change your entire Ads Manager metrics just by changing the first 3 lines of the ad and the first 3 to 5 seconds of the actual video, what you're saying in the first 3 to 5 seconds of the video. Anyway, let me quickly go through this copy and I'll show you how I'm subtly targeting. So one thing I actually didn't do in this copy, which I did in this new test copy that's actually outperforming. So maybe I should show you this instead. Okay, it's kind of like a variation, but this is actually outperforming in terms of front end metrics, this piece of copy right here. So you can see one thing that I did, okay, is in this copy, I call out agencies between 10 to 50K a month. So I'm directly calling out specifically who I'm speaking to, right? That's specifically who I'm calling out. Agency owners between 10 to 50K a month. Okay. And I could have said 10K a month plus because really, for example, just yesterday we brought on a client who's doing 200K a month right now. So it's not that we don't work with anyone above 50K a month, but I just know in marketing, the more specific, the better. So if I said agency owners above 10K a month, that would be okay. That would probably work. But agencies between 10 to 50K a month is way more specific. And I just know that will resonate way more than if I said agencies between 10 and 200K a month. It just wouldn't have that same zing to it, right? But look at the first 3 lines, right? What's shown before the first 3 lines? Well, agencies, let me actually zoom in on this just so you guys can see, okay? Hopefully you can see that, right? This is what's shown before the first 3 lines in the ad. Agencies between 10 to 50K a month. I will pay your media buyer's salary for 3 months if we do not generate you at least, right? And then I go at least 50 qualified sales calls in the next 90 days for your agency offer. So what the big thing is in targeting using, in messaging, in your messaging across your ad funnel, right? In the first 3 lines, you need to do a few things. Number 1, call out your audience. Number 2, you need to state your offer. And you need to make sure that that offer is specifically the big number 1 thing that the audience specifically you've called out deeply wants. And then the third thing you need to do is state what will happen if you don't get the result, okay? So it's basically the guarantee. So it's like call out the market, state the offer, guarantee. That's what you need to do in the first 3 lines of your copy. So again, for example here, I call out my market specifically, 10 to 50K a month. And then something else that I also do that's very subtle here, but again, helps tremendously with the targeting, okay? I'm further targeting. I go, I will pay your media buyer's salary for 3 months. So what does this mean? Well, number 1, I'm implying that the person has a media buyer. And number 2, this is also very subtle, but I'm implying that they have a salary, that the media buyer is on a salary. Now, if you've got somebody they're on a salary with you, what does that mean? You're probably making money, right? If you're just starting out, if you're a complete beginner, you've got no employees, number 1, and you've got nobody on salary, obviously. If you're a complete beginner, you're not making any money. So this is very subtle, but I'm also further implying, and I do this throughout the entire ad copy. I'll show you another big part here, which I do this in as well. I'm subtly implying, I'm subtly targeting essentially. I will pay your media buyer's salary for 3 months, okay? Implying that they're already making money, that they're at a certain level. If we do not generate you at least 50 qualified sales calls in the next 90 days for your agency offer. So not only am I subtly further targeting here, but I'm also giving them a ridiculous offer. I will pay your media buyer's salary for 3 months if we do not generate you at least, and then I give them, I basically state the one big thing that my market wants. If you was to ask my market, what do you want? They will never say clients. They will never say they want more clients. What they'll say is they want more book calls. They want more calls. They want more qualified calls. Why do they say that? Because the number 1 thing my market tells me is if I get a qualified prospect on the phone, I know I can close them. I literally say that right here, right? If we keep going on, I go, let's be honest. If you're like most agency owners, once you get a qualified prospect on the phone or Zoom, okay, even this is kind of further subtly qualifying because it's I know my entire market uses Zoom, right? Or Zoom, you can close them. Okay, let me say that again. If you're like most agency owners, once you get a qualified prospect on the phone or Zoom, you can close them. Your call close rate is probably about 35 to 45%, but the issue you're facing right now is you're just not getting enough calls in the calendar each month. So while you're closing at 35, 45%, you're not closing any more than 5 to 10 new clients due to a lack of sales calls. So let us fill your calendar for you with qualified book calls for your offer. So a few things here. This is the most important part of the entire ad. I'm not even going to go into this bottom half here. I'm just going to strictly focus on this top part here because this is the lead of the ad and this is what's going to have the biggest impact on the ad's result. So number 1, state who I want to speak to, right? Who's my target audience. Number 2 is I state a specific offer that I know this person deeply wants. Again, if you was to ask my market, what do you want? They will say, I want more qualified sales calls. So I guarantee them 50 qualified sales calls in the next 90 days, okay, for your agency offer, or I will pay your media buyer's salary for 3 months. Super important. That's the guarantee, right? And that was kind of the biggest thing with testing because before I just said 50 qualified sales calls in the next 90 days, or you don't pay. That was the guarantee, or you don't pay, which we still do, right? We still refund the client's money, whatever. But I'm just testing the guarantee to see what is going to hit more. And you can see by the results, right? You've seen before, it's this was getting $5 clicks. The others was getting $7 clicks. So this seems to be doing pretty well, right? It's not spent that much, but it seems to be doing pretty well. And then from there, what I do is I go into this little section here, which again, the only reason I've put this into the ad is because this is what my entire market routinely tells me. They say, I know once I get a qualified prospect on the phone, I can close them. I just can't get enough qualified calls. Cool. I put that straight into here. Also, what I'm further doing here is that, again, I'm further subtly targeting and qualifying and filtering the market in terms of who is actually going to resonate with this ad, click on the ad, and eventually book in a call. Why? Because I say to them, your call close rate right now is probably around 35 to 45%. So I'm implying that number one, they can close clients, and number two, that they are closing clients because they already have a 30 to 40%, 35 to 45% close rate. So they're signing clients, but they're just not scaling. They're not at the level that they ultimately want to be. And so I say, so while you're closing at 35 to 45%, you can't generate any more than 5 to 10 new clients per month due to a lack of sales calls. Again, what am I doing here? I'm implying that they're already signing clients. This is how we get such a high quality book rate from the ads, because all of the targeting is done in the messaging throughout the funnel. Okay. Again, I'm not going to break down the creative specifically here because that's going to be a whole nother thing. If you want to watch the creatives, just go into my ad library and check them out. But you can see it's a very, very, very similar structure to the ad copy. I call them out. Really, this is the overarching kind of framework of the creatives that I've currently got running. Not to say that this won't change, but currently these creatives basically call out the market, state the offer, state the guarantee, and then I basically go into results. I back up the guarantee. So I go into results here in the ad copy, but in the video ad, I state the market, or call out the market, state the offer, state the guarantee, results, CTA. That's literally the big five. Call out, offer, guarantee, results, CTA. That's it. And then you can see in here, I do the same thing pretty much, call out the market, offer, etc. I kind of resonate with the market a little bit more here. And then I go into, so let us fill the calendar for you. The best part, restate the offer. For example, results, okay? Backing up the claim, because again, inherently, all of your market will be skeptical. If you make a big claim, people are going to inherently be skeptical. They're going to be like, really? I don't reckon you can do that, whatever. Especially on cold ads, when they have no idea who you are, you're a complete stranger to them, that by their default is going to be skepticism. It's just how humans are. I'm sure if you was to see my ad, you had no idea who I was, you're going to default to being skeptical, right? Probably even when you started watching this YouTube video right now, at the start when I was like, we're getting $100 cost per book call, we're doing this, we're doing that, you probably defaulted to skepticism, which is granted, this is just what humans do, right? But then when I backed it up with the claim, I showed you my entire ad account and breaking this down. You're like, oh, okay, I can see now. You know what I mean? Like you defaulted to skepticism, but then I had to back my claims up, right? You got to do the same thing in your ads, especially in your ad creative as well. And then basically here, I just go straight into a CTA and I do the same thing in the video ad. So that's the first thing. And this is going to have the biggest impact on the quality of the leads that you get through the funnel. Your actual funnel itself also has got to be really strong in terms of the messaging, who you want to serve, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But because this is the first touch point that prospects have with you and your offer and your funnel overall, this is going to have the biggest impact on the quality. So most of the time, if you're struggling with quality with your ad funnel, check your ads, because most of the time, that's going to have the biggest impact on the quality of the prospects, because this is the thing that's going to basically filter out, right? If you call out anyone and everyone in the ad, then guess what the funnel's going to do? It's going to get anyone and everyone, right? Whereas if you're hyper specific in the ad, then that hyper specificity is only going to resonate with the person who specifically fits whatever the filter is that you set in the ads, right? Hopefully that makes sense. But on the funnel side itself, I just realized the sun is looking terrible. All right, hopefully that looks a little better. Anyway, aesthetics is not the point of this video. I don't really care if I look good or not, whatever, it doesn't matter. Onto the funnel, okay? So we've really hyper-specified who's gonna be coming through the funnel. Now we need to maintain that across the funnel. Number one thing I'll say, the biggest impact that will basically impact the effectiveness of your entire funnel overall is the congruency between the ad and the funnel itself, okay? So one of the things that you might see, and this is actually very interesting just to see kind of, well, it's actually not too bad, but the cost per lead here, I definitely think I can get lower than this. And here's why. So you can see on the front end, right? Our cost per click right now is $5.13 versus $7.71, which I'm going to change up, right? And that was the other ads that I showed you before. But one thing that's important to know is that on this ad, I just put this up as a separate test. I didn't send it to another funnel or anything like that. I just literally put this up running to the same funnel as this one right here. Now, you'll see, obviously the claim here is I'll pay your media buyer salary for 3 months if we do not generate you at least 50 sales calls in the next 90 days for your agency offer. But on the landing page, I say we guarantee 50 sales calls for your agency in the next 90 days. That's cool. But then the guarantee here is or you don't pay. So I would wager if I changed this opt-in page to say, I will pay your media buy, I basically change it to this on the headline here. I will pay your media buy salary for, it would get a much higher opt-in rate because the congruency is much higher. And I probably will end up testing that because this offer seems to be doing pretty well from a front-end metric standpoint in terms of cost per clicks, CTR, et cetera, et cetera. So bit of a side note, which I thought was quite interesting. Anyway, onto this. You can see again, I'm carrying this through. I'm calling out, again, the messaging of the funnel is what does all of the targeting, okay? So again, agency owners between 10 to 50K a month. I reference them again, exactly who they are. I don't call out agency owners. I don't call them out because that's markets like everyone, right? I call out specifically where they're at, okay? I have a client who I was speaking to this morning, we had a call with, and he has a law firm, okay? A law firm marketing agency. And, he was like, so basically, I don't feel as though, like, his market doesn't really resonate or identify, I should say, with the monetary value. Like, if you're in the agency space or the coaching space, like, everyone identifies by how much they're doing per month, right? Which is why I can call them out on this on the front end, because they identify as an agency owner who's doing 25K a month, or I'm an agency owner doing 40K a month. We identify by how much we make, right? Whereas with this specific client I'm talking about, his market doesn't really identify by how much they're doing per month. Rather, they identify by how many attorneys they have in their firm. And so instead for him, what we're doing is we're calling out law firms with, I think it was like 5 to 10 attorneys. Here's what you need to know. Like that's how we're calling them out. So you got to figure out, how does my market identify and who do I create the most value for? Is it, in my case, is it agency owners who are just starting out? If that's the case, dope. Say beginner agency owners with 0 clients, or beginner agency owners with 2 clients, beginner agency owners at 5K a month, or is it agency owners at 200K a month? Wanting to get to $1 million a month. Here's what you need to know, right? Get specific, okay? Then basically you just restating the big guarantee, the big bold claim, okay? And then basically here I've just gone click the button below, enter your info, and we'll text you more info on how all of this works. And again, I'm restating only if you're between 10 to 50K a month. And then I say it again, don't opt in if you're not between 10 to 50K a month with your agency. So now you can start to see why this funnel produces such high quality leads for us, because the only people who are going through the funnel are those who are actually our ideal client, okay? So then they opt in. And I'm going to tell you a really big secret here in a minute at the end on basically how this actually allows your campaigns to run even longer. And the longer you let them run, the better they perform. I'll show you how that plays out in a minute. But essentially that's the opt-in page. They opt in, okay? Name, email, phone number. For the phone number side of things, we actually have a script to where basically if I was to put in a number here, like, a fake number, I should say, we've got a script to where it says invalid number. So it forces the prospects to put in a real number. And then from here, they opt in, they go to this page. Again, I'm just basically restating the big bold claim at the top. Watch the short video below to see how this works. This is literally an 8-minute video. I would say that this is actually too long. 8 minutes, it's performing really well, but ideally you want to try and keep this video between 5 and I would say 8 minutes is like the max, right? Like 5 and 8 minutes. I don't want to say don't do it at 8 minutes because mine's 8 minutes and it's performing really well. So it can work, but ideally the shorter the better. Why? Because the shorter the video is, the more likely the prospect is to watch the whole video, right? And if you can get everything you need to get said in the shortest amount of time possible, then they're more likely to watch the whole video and they get hit with all the things that they need in order for them to book in a call. And essentially the idea of this video here, this offer lead VSL is what it's called, is essentially you need to instill one core belief into your prospect. And that one core belief is that your offer is the best or the only option for them to achieve their desired outcome, whatever that may be. And so in the prospect's mind, after they watch your offer lead VSL, they need to be in the mindset that basically they now can go nowhere else to get the, if, for example, if it's, if you serve, for example, let's just say you serve my market, right? Agency owners, and you help them, agency owners or coaches, and, you take them from 50K a month to 200K a month, right? Well, after they watch your offer lead VSL, if I'm the coach watching the VSL, I now need to think in my mind that the only way for me to get to 200K a month, which is my desired outcome, the only way for me to get there is by booking in a call with you and joining your offer. That's the only way for me to get there, right? The reason you want to instill that one belief into the prospect via your offer lead VSL is because once that belief has been installed into the prospect, guess what they're going to do? They're going to book in a call, like guaranteed. because now in their mind, they can't go anywhere else to get to that desired outcome because you are the only or the best solution. And you got to remember that nobody actively seeks out the second best in a market. Nobody actively buys the second best solution in a market. So unless you position yourself and your offer as the best or the only option for them to get to where they want to go, they're not going to book in a call with you. That's why the offer lead VSL has that one belief that you got to instill into the prospect. Again, if you want more specifics on this, watch my last video that I posted. I really break down this offer lead VSL pretty much in its entirety. And again, that's also another huge part of the messaging that does a lot of the targeting, because every word in this VSL has to be perfect. Okay. And then of course they then go from here and schedule in a call. Now, one thing I want to mention is essentially, now one thing I want to finish off this video with is pixel optimization. So another reason why the longer you let these campaigns run, the more effective they become is because essentially, if you are super strict with your targeting, again, through your messaging, so again, calling out people specifically, right? Making sure that the only people that would resonate with your ad is your specific ideal client, okay, and the segment at which they're at, okay? So again, my ideal client is agency owners, but the specific segment that we find we create the most value for is 10 to 50K a month people, right? Or at least 10K a month plus, right? Well, guess what? If the funnel only attracts that type of person, well, that means that the only people who are gonna be opting in is that person, right? Because again, I say here, don't opt in if you're not between 10 to 50K a month. So most people who are just beginners or whatever, they're not going to resonate with this and they're not going to opt in because I'm telling them don't opt in, right? In the ad, I'm implying that they're already closing at this close rate. I'm implying that they're already signing new clients every month. I'm telling them that you're this person. In my guarantee or in my offer, I'm saying, we'll pay your media buyer salary. So if you're just a beginner agency owner, you're never going to opt into this ad. I might get the odd few, but like the majority aren't going to opt in. And so what does that do? Well, it tells the pixel, okay, all of these leads here that are actually opting in, these are qualified people. And so guess what Facebook's gonna do? They're gonna go back and look at who's opting in and they're gonna further optimize around that type of person who actually is already opting in. Whereas if I was getting a bunch of broke beginner people, well, the pixel is gonna optimize around a bunch more broke beginner people. And the further it optimizes around that person, the more broke beginner people I'm gonna get through the funnel. And so at that point, they're just trash leads, right? We can't convert those people. On the flip side, if we're getting a bunch of agency owners between 10 and 50K a month, or a bunch of coaches between 10 and 50K a month, then that's going to feedback data to Facebook and say, hey, this is the type of person who's opting in. And if that type of person that's opting in is my ideal client between 10 and 50K a month, agency owner or a coach, then Facebook's going to further optimize around that person. And so actually, the longer I let my campaigns run, the more effective they're going to become, because Facebook's going to further optimize around my specific ideal client, which is why this process and strategy, if you like, works so well. The longer you leave it, which is quite interesting. And also the broader you go. As I say, you can see I'm not doing any media buying here. One CBO, 3 ad sets, and like one dynamic ad. And I'm just making sure that I give Facebook the right amount of budget. And I'm making sure that my messaging is polarizing as it possibly can. And I'm forcing only qualified prospects into my funnel, which is ultimately how the longer I leave my funnels, the better they perform. And also the more quality calls that I actually get. Because again, there's no point getting $50 book calls or $100 book calls with your ad funnels if 90% of them are unqualified. So then that means there's only 10% that are actually qualified. So that means then further that your actual qualified booked call is probably like $500, $600, $700, right? That's useless unless you got like a 30 grand offer, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. That's exactly how we're going about running our ads right now. We do this for clients, by the way. So we actually have, this is actually our offer. As I said, our ads don't lie, okay? Like this is our offer, where if you are an agency owner or a coach and you're between 10 to 50K a month, we guarantee to put at least 50 qualified calls onto your calendar in the next 90 days for your agency or coaching offer. And if not, then we'll refund you in full. And if you have an agency to where you do have a media buy salary, we'll actually pay that for you if we don't do this for you, okay? So if you're interested in that offer, click the link in the description. It's going to take you to a short 5-minute video. It's actually going to be this video right here. And then book in a call and we'll have a chat to see if you're a good fit. And again, basically we get all of this set up for you. So we help you build your offer lead VSL. Again, as I say, this is the Achilles heel of the entire funnel. If this VSL doesn't convert at least 20%, your ad funnel is not going to convert. It's just not going to work, okay? This funnel has to convert 20% plus. Our clients right now, on average, across every single client that we have, on average, their offer lead via sales convert at 23%. 23%. Pretty good. And so once we get your offer lead via sales set up, we then actually completely take over the ad side of things for you. So we run the ads for you. Okay, we can train you up and train somebody in your in-house team up so that when we leave, your ad funnel doesn't leave, okay? Because if we're managing everything, you have no idea how to do anything. That's gonna be an issue if we ever do end up leaving. However, we can train you up, but actually whilst we're working together, we actually just take care of everything for you, and we actually fill your calendar with qualified book calls completely done for you. Okay, we manage everything for you because we know how it works and we just implement it for clients, and it works time and time again. And again, if we don't get you at least 50 sales calls in the next 90 days for your offer, you don't pay. Simple as that. So if you're interested, click the link in the description below. And aside from that, hopefully you found this YouTube video helpful. If you did, let me know in the comments below. Like the video, all that good stuff, subscribe, whatever else, and I will see you in the next